All right, everybody, welcome back to Running the Ropes. I am the Trey Dog from Wrestling News Live, not your normal host, but it is my privilege at this time to interview one of my favorite wrestlers in the business and a guy that, when you listen to my show on Wrestling News Live, he gets the credit he deserves. If it wasn't for this man, I don't think we would still be watching professional wrestling today. I've said that many times, and I will argue with anybody that chooses to argue with me. He is one of the founders of the NWO. He is Mr. Kevin Nash. Kevin, how are you, buddy?
What's up, my man? How you doing, Trey?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good sitting here watching the Heat and the Thunder like you, I imagine.
I am.
You're in Florida, so I'm going to take it that you're a Miami fan.
No, I mean I'm closer to. I'm a Lakers fan.
Oh, really?
I've been a Lakers fan since '73.
Wow, I would have thought Pistons, if not Heat.
I'm a Lakers fan. I was my favorite player growing up as a kid was Chamberlain, so I've been
Oh,
a
wow.
Lakers fan ever since.
So, a lot of people may not know this. You were huge into basketball before you got into wrestling. You were a starting.
It's still my sport.
You were a starter for the University of Tennessee, right?
Yeah,
So a lot of people. That's where the knee problems started, right?
yeah. Well, that's actually before that shit. I had bad knee. I grew up in Detroit. I played on asphalt growing up, so I mean, back
Right.
then all we had was chucks. It wasn't like we had, it wasn't like he was like wearing house slippers with a pair of socks. So
I remember. I remember in eighth grade, going to my dad and saying, "Dad, I'm going to play basketball." And no, I'm sorry, I was in the fifth grade, and I was playing up on the eighth grade team because that was the only team we had. The little podunk school I went to, and I said, "Dad, I need basketball shoes. I'm going to play on the basketball team." And I just, being a fifth grade kid, you leave it up to your dad to make those kind of decisions. And he came home with a pair of white Chuck Taylors when everybody else was wearing Nike and Reebok and all the cool shit. And I was wearing Chuck Taylors. I was so embarrassed.
I mean, you had between Pro Kids and Chucks were the only two, and both were canvas uppers, and I mean, basically they were the same shoe. Those were basically the two shoes that you had when I was growing up. And then my sophomore year in high school, Adidas came out. They had the pro model that at that point Alcindor was wearing
Right.
before he turned into Jabbar, and I switched to that. My mom, we didn't have any money. My mom bought me a $90 pair of shoes to play in, for the season.
I thought it was pretty funny in a world dominated by Nike and all that right now. The two teams in the NBA Finals are sponsored by Adidas.
Yep. I mean, it's funny. Tennessee's been with Adidas forever.
Yeah,
So,
I like Adidas.
I do too. I've got a ton of Nike. I got a ton of Adidas, but Nike run a little small, so sometimes I have some problems with them. But
I know when I'm on the golf course, I'm all Nike, but other than that, I don't mind wearing my Adidas.
I switch it out. And I got some Under Armour too. I mean, my workout, I got a couple pair of shoes I work out in at Under Armour.
Do you have any kind of endorsement deal with anybody at all, or
No.
no?
God, it's so hard for us to get any kind of endorsement deal. I mean, I've gotten deals before where I've gotten gear like Adidas. I got shoes and sweatpants and stuff like that, but never anything monetary.
Right. Because I've seen you wearing Under Armour stuff before, so I thought maybe you might have had something.
I was with them before they were. When they were just nobody. I mean, I was wearing Under Armour.
Right.
I tore my quad. I got hooked up with a guy, and they were just kind of starting off. And I said, "Yeah, I'll wear your stuff." And there was a picture of me in the WWE magazine wearing Under Armour, and the next thing you know, I got a box. With the size, you put a body in it of Under Armour. I mean, I've been wearing Under Armour. I mean, I go to the gym almost every day in something Under Armour.
Well, I don't want to do one of those interviews that's going to bore you to tears with the words you get started and all that bullshit, because we already know that. We've been down that road. And, for those of you that don't know, because I'm not the normal host of this show, go to the archives of Wrestling News Live for about a 2-hour plus interview with Kevin that we did last year. that was the media award winning interview for Interview of the Year. One of the things I'm proud of, not many shows in this business could say they had Hall and Nash on the same show, and we were able to pull that off for an award winning show. So if you want all the background, go check that out. I know it bores Kevin to tears to say the same shit over and over and over again. So we're not going to go down that road. I saw it. I was on YouTube, and YouTube is one of those websites. I'm sure you know. Once you get on it, it takes you forever to get off because you get stuck looking at one thing and then another and then another. And I think I was just looking at some of your matches or something one day. And I had done a search on you, and this is within the last week or so. And I came across an interview that I hadn't seen. And I looked at the timer and I saw how long it was, and I thought, wow, this is something I haven't seen. I can't even tell you what federation it was for, but it was you were in town doing a show for somebody, and
It was probably for no kayfabe. It's like 7 hours long, right?
well, it's the one where you get your food in the middle of the interview and you eat this pasta dish in the middle of the interview, and then he asks you what could save wrestling today, and you said 3 hours of Kelly Kelly.
Oh yeah, I was yeah, it was a young dude. I got like a salad and some pasta and stuff. Yeah, 3 hours of Kelly Kelly. Yeah,
I think
I was.
I laughed more. I laughed more at you during that interview than any other interview you've done because I could just see in your face how you didn't want to have to sit there and do that.
The thing was, he told me before we got started. I said, what do you think? He brought up that he had a little bit of a crush on her, so I just kind of stuck it down his throat throughout the entire interview.
I was like 3 hours of Kelly Kelly. Yeah, that might fix things.
I mean, it worked for Baywatch.
Hell yeah, it did. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the finger quotations interview part of things. And like I said, we've done all that. Where'd you start? Where'd you get this NWO that? We've done all that. Let's catch up with you since the last time we talked. And last time we talked was right before you jumped in the ring and took out CM Punk at the pay-per-view. Where did that get started? Whose idea was that, and how did that all come about?
I was actually on my way to go to the gathering for the Insane Clown Posse, and I got a call about 3 or 4 days before that, and they basically called me and said, "Hey, you want to come to SummerSlam and stick Punk and make him lose the title to Del Rio?" And I said, "Yeah, sure."
Why not? I can do that.
Yeah, it seems to me like that's going to put me in the mix somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you would have thought so anyway. I mean, yeah, I was hoping we were going to get more of you than we got.
I'd like to put the kid over. I mean, I think he's a good talent. I like the fact. I enjoy watching him. I think he could, definitely carry me to having a good match. I mean, I've got enough left in me, but I need somebody with his ability, ring ability, to have that stellar match. And it wasn't. To me and Paul didn't have my last match. I think I think I deserve to have a last match, and if I could put Phil over, I would be happy to do so. Just let it be my last match. But as of right now, I got 2 movies coming out this month, and we got some other things on the horizon. So it's just I'm really enjoying just doing some indies. Just working when I want to work and doing kind of what I want to do, and I put my time in the coal mine. I don't have to go down every shift anymore.
That's right. Yeah, it's harder for me, and I'll go on record for people that know me in this business. Hell, I've been doing wrestling radio for 16 years. I've never made it a secret that were there no Hall and Nash and were there no outsiders, there probably would have never been a Wrestling News Live radio show. We kind of tried to take the personality of Hall and Nash and translate it to radio and give you information and a little comedy at the same time. And, 16 years later, here we are. But with that being said, it's no secret how big a fan I am of Kevin Nash. It's not me trying to kiss his ass because he's on the show. I've said it when he's not on the show several times. So it saddened me to get that tweet, where you thanked Paul for your last match, and I thought, damn, I was really, as a fan, hoping to see that at least that CM Punk match, that CM
Right.
Punk payoff match,
Yeah.
because it
I
would have
wish
been
I
magic.
wanted to. I wanted to do that. I mean, it just, I've always gotten that rap where, my entire career I held people down. And,
Yeah.
I've always had that rap. And I mean, I don't think it was more so, prevalent than during my Oz days, how I just held the talent down during that big Oz push.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's one of those situations where, I get on my Twitter. I got more haters than I got followers. So I mean, it's just one of those things that I guess I just rub people wrong, which in a weird way just kind of really makes me happy.
Right. Right. I'm the same way. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like it, I'd rather walk through bar and elbow everybody and have them pissed off than walk through and say excuse me. I mean, that's just my personality.
Right. Right.
And and people like people, you get one of those nights where a couple of people say something to you, and you go off on them. But I try to explain this to people. Like to some people, Twitter is like the gospel. Like
Yeah.
if you say something on Twitter, like you get quoted like on a radio program or something
Dirt
like
sheet.
that. It's just like, yeah, I mean, you get quoted like, I'm just like, that's why I don't have a blue check, because I'm not verified, because I'm
I
not
like the response to that though.
I'm not playing the game.
Yeah, but
The game is Twitter. It's like PS3. I play
yeah.
Modern Warfare with my son. We're not really killing people. It's
Yeah.
just Twitter. It's a stupid social media. It's like all these morons that bought Facebook because they had to have a piece of it because it's such a big piece of their life. And you go, hey, jackass, there's no fucking revenue. Don't buy it. It's a fucking $14 stock tops. I'm going to buy it 38. Good for you, you fucking dork.
I like
Where
the
you at
guy that was
now?
giving you shit a couple of weeks ago and said something about why aren't you verified? And you said, "Fuck you! I know who I am."
Yeah, I don't need Twitter to verify. Yeah, let me send in my passport information so I can get verified on Twitter. Fuck that. Boy, that'll make my fucking life complete.
Oh, and this is what I love about Kevin Nash, ladies and gentlemen. Um, I mean, it's just like the people that are still pissed to this day that you killed WCW because you made Goldberg punch the window out of that limo.
I mean, the thing is, like, a lot of people don't realize that I'm not human. I'm actually Vulcan. And when I did that mind melt that day in Salisbury,
Yeah,
and made him do that,
right.
my favorite thing of all is when Bill writes this book that I masterminded the demise of his winning streak. So I had the belt for a whole 5 days, turned around in the Georgia Dome and did the finger poke of doom. I was the second hottest babyface in the company behind Goldberg. I got a whole 5-day run with that belt and
Hmm.
turned it over to Hogan. Please explain to me how that advanced my career in any form or fashion.
Yeah, I don't know how that put you over any. I don't know.
It
I don't
couldn't.
know.
I was
I don't,
I
where was your payoff in that?
nothing. My same weekly paycheck I got, whether I did or did. It did nothing for me. And I told Bill one time, I talked to Bill, and I love Bill to death. I told Bill, I said, please, somewhere find a piece of video where I'm not drinking and being a jackass. I mean, where I was like actually trying to make money and be in the wrestling business, where I said I broke the street. That wasn't about that. It was about to build a heel army to reunite the two factions in the NWO and feed Bill guys for 9 to 10 months and put them back in Starrcade with Hogan.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what that was to do. And he got pissed off, and and made a mistake, and things didn't work out. But you know what? That's the fucking wrestling business, and that's why you write the fucking show in pencil, and that's why you change it as you go, and that's why it's a work. And it's just like, hey, come on.
Well, it's just like it's the same people that piss me off, and I've done shows about this where I've debated for hours with callers and emailers when I say, when Kevin had the book in WCW, what people don't realize is how much you changed shit minutes before the show and how much you altered
Oh,
shit minutes
Jesus.
before the main event. And they think that's all your fault, though.
It's not my fault. The thing is, too, is when you have people that have creative control and you spend the better part of 28 to 30 hours writing a show, I mean, I would love to see Stephanie and Paul and Vince with 6 people in that locker room with creative control, and at 7 o'clock have 3 of them come in and go, "Didn't work for me, brother," and see what the fuck that Raw show looked like.
Yeah, because that would never happen.
Love to fucking see it. Love to see that scenario. Love to see Paul Heyman in that work under the genius of Paul Heyman work under that scenario. Just let me alone have creative control and maybe anywhere near the top and be able to fucking just at the last minute come in and say, I'm changing this, and this to those 3 segments that I'm involved in. And now you got fucking 45 minutes. You got to rewrite it. You got to still get something past me. And while you're doing it, you still got to retime the entire fucking show because you just lost 17 minutes of your show.
And it's like Russo says, I this week on our show Tuesday did an entire segment defending Vince Russo. Now, I don't know how you feel about Vince and what your relationship is with him, but I think he's another guy.
He's another one that fucking has always been he's never had complete control any place he's been.
Mm-hmm.
He's always taking complete blame.
Yeah, and it pisses me off. I get emotionally involved in shit like that because it pisses me off, and I try to set the record straight and educate, and did a whole segment on the show about how he was, considered the antichrist of professional wrestling, and there's people booing him for things that he had no hand in.
The thing with Vince is Vince understood as time progressed. There's an old school mentality of wrestling that Vince Russo realized that just by and he can only go by the numbers of what we were doing on our show. Right. As matches got longer, fucking we were losing viewers. So he just looked at it. I mean, over a course of time, it's like anything you do, whether you fucking whether you're going to do it with by charting a stock, a hedge fund, whatever you're going to do, you go look at numbers, and you go by statistics, probability statistics, you go by pure statistics, and stats don't lie. If there's trends, those trends are consistent trends in anything you're doing, chances are, that's why they have focus groups.
Yeah.
That's why right now Obama has focus groups, and those people in those focus groups, their swing voters, are saying, I don't know, I don't want to vote for Romney, but I don't know where Obama stands on the economic issues because he hasn't made them clear enough. It's that simple. So it doesn't mean you need midget wrestling. It means you need an economic program. I mean, you take the information that's given to you, and you better put something fucking solid on a piece of paper you can hand to some motherfucker with a 61 IQ and say, hey, this is my economic program. This is what I'm going to do if you reelect me.
Right.
I think if you do that, then you got a better chance to be real. But don't the smoke and mirrors bullshit of, oh, no, brother, they'll fucking, they'll buy this, they'll buy that. No, they won't. The numbers are always saying they're turning the channel. So
well, that's why they say a lot of times, do I need to write this in crayon?
Yeah. I mean, and Russo was, Russo had young kids, too. And so Russo still has his finger on the pulse because, his boys love, like, backstage stuff and the funny stuff, and he knew what they wanted more, you know, more sizzle and less wrestle.
Right.
And you know, I don't care what you I mean. When time and time again, somebody like oh, this guy draws the highest number on TNA, I mean, there's a reason it shouldn't have been called Impact. There's a reason it should just stay TNA.
Yeah.
You know, I
At
mean,
that point, yeah.
the knockouts were drawing the highest number for a long time. They're getting paid, you know, when a janitor gets paid, it fucking, you know, it Universal.
Yeah, and then they let all the good ones go.
Yeah, well, God forbid they ask for a fucking raise.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked to
Right?
ODB. She's like, I'm waitressing and bartending just to get by.
Yeah, and it's just that's fucking ridiculous. But
I agree.
you know, if I had to break into fucking wrestling right now, shit, I'd be over in Afghanistan in the forward observation point, fucking lobbing fucking 203s at the fucking Taliban. So fuck it.
Yeah. Once I watched 60 Minutes this week, and I don't usually watch that show, but it happened to come on, and the guy that's flying around in the airplane, he's like, I don't know if he's director of defense or what he is, but the guy that was really responsible for doing all the work that actually landed Bin Laden, you know, um, it's funny how Obama was the Antichrist and was never going to get reelected, and then all of a sudden now he's the best thing since, pussy was invented.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I look at I sit there today and at like 1:30, Obama was speaking, and Obama was up in Cleveland, and Romney was down in Cincinnati, and if you want to get people pissed off, talk politics. But Romney's down there fucking talking about how, I mean, if you look at the fucking numbers of what Obama's done since he's been in office, and I mean, his spending, like everything, when you look at it, not through fucking the MSNBC fucking eye, and not through the Fox eye,
Right.
but look through it through fucking the real situation. We're in a fucking country that if somebody from fucking Citibank almost puts this country in a depression, we bring them up to fucking Capitol Hill. We have a fucking Senate hearing on them, and they're in front of the fucking the congressional hearing. I mean, not the Senate, but the congressional hearing. They're in front of those motherfuckers for 15 minutes, and they say, we didn't do anything. And I say, okay, thank you so much for showing up. Roger Clemens takes a little fucking HGH and throws a fucking baseball.
Exactly.
That motherfucker, it's like the Nuremberg trial.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
You almost fucking, let me get this right. You fucking cocksuckers in Wall Street almost put us in a depression, and you guys are up fucking in front of Congress for fucking 7 minutes, and we got Roger Clemens who fucking threw a baseball with a little fucking juice in him against fucking the entire fucking league, jacked to the fucking gills, and this is somehow fucking, it's perjury. I mean, fuck you, Waxman.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I've used that comparison so many times. And the problem with Obama though is that he doesn't have anybody running against him, so it's like, he doesn't have the competition to knock him out.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that fucking voted for fucking somebody that came in and said he's a private sector fucking genius, that was, and while during his governorship, fucking was 47 out of 50 states and fucking producing jobs. I mean, you're already telling me fucking that you're a brain dead motherfucker, don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Put the fucking, you put the state of Massachusetts $2 to $4 billion, depending on who you want to listen to, deeper in debt. And I mean, like, Obama said today, he may not have an economic fucking idea or fucking vision, but he does know one thing. If you want fucking another 4 years of the fucking 8 years we had before we went into the Depression with Bush, fucking go ahead and vote for the Republicans again.
I tell you, the thing that pisses me off is that we're so far in debt, but yet anybody anytime another country farts in another country's airspace, we're the world police, and we got to come over there and kick ass for them.
Damn
You
right,
know.
damn right. Absolutely. And the thing is, too, it's just like, I watched Jesse Ventura the other night on Pierce Morgan, and he was saying, that he was calling the fucking, what do you call them, the Democrats and the fucking Republicans. He was calling one of them the Reds, and one of them the Bloods, and one of them the Crips. I think it was the Democrats and fucking Republic Bloods or whatever he was calling them. He said they're both gangs, and they're fucking, we need to get rid of them. And Jesse's fucking, he's nuttier and shit. He's a fucking wrestler.
Right.
When it really comes down to it, just like, our system's so fucking broken. Nobody. I mean, it's whoever gets the House, whoever gets the fucking Senate. Everybody fucks everybody over. They fucking drag their feet. They make everybody look like an ass. It's more about. It's like a fucking football game, nobody gives a shit about the American people. But when the middle class is lost, the normal middle class person's lost between 7 to 12% of their income, and their net worth is went from $125,000 to $73,000 in the last 4 years. It's just like this is fucking shit. I mean, this is the heart and soul of our country, and you need to stop fucking around up at Capitol Hill, or either that or get a couple, because I'll tell you one thing, you go and shut the post office down. You thought some motherfucking guys were going postal in the fucking first place? You ain't shut that whole motherfucker down. Let about 80,000 of those motherfuckers with assault rifles loose, and I fucking see what kind of shit you got. You better.
I've always said that was our actual National Guard.
Absolutely. Let that postal fucking unit loose.
Well, before we get back into some wrestling, I just saw, as we talked about earlier, you and I are both watching the Heat and Thunder here. Thunder trying to make it close, but I don't think they're going to have enough time. I just saw the ad for Rock of Ages.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I haven't seen your role in the movie yet, because it doesn't come out until this Friday, and I haven't seen you in a commercial yet, but I have seen Tom Cruise, who, A, if you would have told me was going to play that role in the first place, I'd have thought you were high, and B, looks so good doing it, he almost looks like he's got venereal diseases.
He really, I was there for the better part of 7 weeks with him, for 12, 16 hours a day. Because as his bodyguard, we're almost in every scene with him.
Right.
Whether we're in the scene or not in the scene, we're in the room with him. Whether the camera picks us up or doesn't. And he did almost kind of a Jim Morrison Doors when Kilmer played it, where he found Stacey Jacks. I think it took him a while to find it. Probably in rehearsal, was way before we got there. By the time I got on set, and it was the day for the first day of shoot, Tom Cruise was Stacey Jackson. He really, a couple of times we were talking football and different things. He would come on, and we'd actually talk like two dudes. But he kind of stayed pretty much reserved, pretty much to himself, and pretty much into that Stacey Jacks character. So I really think it was, a really a push for him. And I think that it was not an easy fucking thing for him to do. I don't think but he gave it everything he had, and it just one of the few tweets I've ever put. I really don't like talking about other people like when they're working and shit. And I'm kind of watching from up close. It was just like, dude's a fucking star.
Yeah, I don't agree with a lot of his views on life and everything, but the dude can act. I mean, and to go through to give you a little on Tom Cruise, that whole Mission Impossible series, the one he actually wrote and directed was the best one.
Absolutely. I mean, the guy, the guy is. He's as A-list as they can get. I don't give a fuck if he jumps up on Oprah's couch, because I don't watch Oprah, so I can see it. So, but I don't see how when you build your daughter a $400,000 tree fort, I
Yeah,
just don't. I just don't. If somebody says, well, he's a little eccentric, I would fucking hope so.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, when you got
no
that
doubt.
kind of, you got that. You know, when I was reading the Rolling Stone that just came out, I've been getting Rolling Stone, I think, since I was 19, and Charlie Sheen says, it's money's juice, it's like electricity. It just, and when you got that much cash, man, you gotta have a lot of electricity running through your fucking body.
Oh hell yeah. Oh hell
It's
yeah.
just,
You start to believe. You start to believe.
oh
You
yeah.
know everything you think about yourself.
Oh yeah, you take a shit and you leave it in the fucking toilet because you absolutely believe that shit smells like roses.
Yeah, and you ain't gonna flush it. Let somebody else do it.
Fuck yeah,
When you got that kind of money.
yeah. So I mean, you know what? I don't have a problem with that. I don't envy it. I'm not jealous of it. It is what it is.
Right.
And our society has fucking created that monster, not Tom Cruise.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah. No, not none of that's Tom Cruise's fault. But for those that
No,
don't
fuck no.
know, Tom plays a rock star in this movie, and you know looks the part, plays the part from what I've seen. But what I'm looking forward to in this movie is to see you in the movie. But I got to be honest with you, dude. Number one, it's got a woman that I said years ago was one of the hottest things on the planet and proof God is a man. Julianne Hough is in the movie.
Yeah, she's a really sweet kid.
She is gorgeous.
Yeah, she's really she put her heart and soul into it. There's some really great performances. Catherine Zeta-Jones, I watched her one night singing against Russell Brand at like 4 o'clock in the morning in the Hood. It's been remade as Sunset Strip, and it's just like it's 4 o'clock in the morning. They're screaming back and forth, with fucking the music blaring and shot after shot after shot, take after take after take, and it's just you're watching this, you're just like, that's Kathy Jones, that's Russell Brand, it's just like you're just watching these like A-list people, and it's just like nobody's bullshitting around, everybody's throwing down, and I think this movie is going to do really. I think people are going to be. It's just it's Rolling Stone once again. I'll have to find quote because it was in this month's also said that they kind of gave like a synopsis of the storyline. I said this would sound funny and fucked up and anything else, but with the performances and the fun factor that this is, it's just like it's really a really fun ride with some really great performances from a really fucking A team of actors.
Yeah. Oh, it's an all-star cast for sure. Like what's Paul Giamatti is in the movie.
Yeah, Paul's in it. He was my soulmate. Me and him sat down and because he was Cruise's manager, and every break he and I kind of sat down and we became I always call it set buddies. Where you just kind of spend your time, you eat your lunch with them, and Paul and I. It was really nice to get a chance because I think the guy's brilliant.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think
I've liked.
Giamatti's one of my top three. Him, I can't think of the dude that played Capote.
The play who?
The guy that played Truman Capote.
Oh,
Seymour.
Hoffman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's another one, and then Russell Crowe. I mean, those are
Oh yeah.
And then if I'm gonna go old school, I'm gonna pick Clint. 'Cause I thought he fucking still. To me, it was like one of those deals where Paul Heyman came out and said nobody over 40 should be in wrestling. I said, fuck. I said, sure was funny how fucking an 80-year-old Clint Eastwood was believable as fuck, kicking motherfucking gangbangers' asses, fucking Gran Torino.
Oh, what a great movie! Holy
Oh
shit,
yeah.
what a great movie! That's one of
I
my
mean,
favorites of all time.
exactly. Like it was no fucking. It didn't pull me in any form or fashion in believability. The fucking Clint Eastwood still couldn't kick ass at fucking 80 years old.
Yeah, I can see you being one of those get off my yard kind of guys.
Hey, fucking man. If I can't kick your ass, I at least shoot you in the fucking head when I'm 80.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have the same fucking rifle. I'll take either of them one. That's the thing, man. People don't get it, man. You're either badass or you're not a badass. And fucking age ain't got nothing to do with it. Because if you're a badass, you're going to get that fucking first shot off. And if you're 80 years old and you're still in decent shape and you get a fucking shot off in a guy's nose and shatter his fucking nose, I don't give a fuck who the dude is. His nose is going to be broke. His eyes are going to water. And if you got any kind of mobility, 80 years old, you can drive a knee in his groin and probably get away with a win.
Yep.
So it's like,
Yep.
yeah, fuck, right? It's just like, come on.
And we've had this debate before with being co-hosts of mine in the past that, when I talk about believability, and there's certain guys out there that, I've been in more bar fights in my life than I choose to remember, but I know that there's some guys in the business that I just look at them and they don't scare me. I'm just not. I'm like, I don't think that guy could whip my ass, and if he did, I know that he'd wake up the next morning knowing he was in a fight.
Yeah,
But then there's guys like, I think what really started was Undertaker Punk, and I thought, come on, man. I mean, in reality, they're in a bar having drinks, and Punk sat there and hits on Michelle McCool. Undertaker would eat Punk alive.
I wouldn't want to bet against Mark.
You know, and it's the believability that pisses me off a lot of times. And that's why people bitched about you a lot in your later years of wrestling, but fuck, dude, you were built better as you got older. You looked to be in better
Yeah,
shape as you got older.
I stopped drinking 40 beers every night.
That'll do it. It depends on
Switch
it depends on
to
what
red
wine you
wine.
switch to.
I switched to red wine. Got that red wine. I mean, it's a diuretic. It stabilizes your insulin levels. I mean, it's a fat burner. Hell, found the fountain of youth, and I do it in moderation. I'm drinking like Andre, but I'm drinking like maybe baby Andre.
Speaking of wine, let me get this out of the way. On your favorite website, Twitter, Hall of Fame Nash for Life wants me to make sure I ask you, and she sent this several times. Says she's going to Napa Valley tomorrow. Do you like? Oh God, how do you say this word? Sangiovese? Sangiovese?
Jeez. I mean, it's all right.
She
Not,
says if yes, she's going to bring some to you on the 23rd.
there's a there's so many Napa Valley wines that are. I mean, that's more of a boutique. But I mean, you know, anything above $15 is Napa Valley. Is oh, I'm sorry, but my heat seemed to have gotten your boys by 4.
Oh damn it!
You didn't
We
cover me.
came back to put it within 2. I lost that one, dude.
Yeah, that's all right. But you know what they say? We just pretty much took home court advantage.
Yeah, but you know what? At this point, it doesn't matter, man.
No, it does. You know what? My whole thing is, man, this is so good for the league because this is kind of magic bird with Durant and James. It's the two
I
best
don't think
players in the
Durant
league.
gets enough. I don't think Durant gets enough pub, man. I mean, I think when the people talk about the greats in the league right now, I mean, up until now, where he's in the finals, I think he's been snubbed quite a bit.
God, I mean, if I watched him as a freshman at Texas, and it was just like he was pulling
Yeah,
up, and I was just thinking to myself like, this guy is like Bob McAdoo with a way prettier shot, with handle, with hops, and way better driving ability. The guy could take it to the hole. I mean, that the pass he made to Westbrook last game when he drove and made that pass off late in the game, that
yeah.
no look. It was just I said to myself, I said, man, I said, dude, here's a guy 6'10", got incredible handle either way. You can't fade him left or right. I mean, you can't force him baseline. He'll spin in and shoot that little bank shot. I mean, he can just come down and just rise. I mean, when he hit that jumper on James when it was close, and James was on him and just just his extension, James just couldn't get the coverage on him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, God, the guy's an incredible athlete, and he's going to get better just because he's going to get stronger. I'll tell you who impressed the hell out of me this year in the playoffs was Kevin Garnett.
Oh, dude,
Jesus, man.
He stepped up big time.
Oh, he was huge. He was.
Well,
huge,
that coach pissed him off. That owner pissed him off, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And it's just like and people. That's the thing, man. You keep if number one, if you're a phenomenal athlete, if you're a genetic freak, you can do these things long. You know what? There's not many 60-plus-year-old guys that can go out and take 12, 15 bumps a night on a hard wrestling ring, but Flair can still do it.
Yeah.
The guy's a freak. I mean, just pure and simple. And he had problems in his life, but it just comes down to it. Very many 63-year guys, you can grab by the neck off the top rope and throw them 15 times, have them land crooked on that one hip, and do it night in, night out, and just love it.
I've always talked about how when he takes a bump, he takes it on his hip, so it's not like he's landing on his back, killing his back.
Well, the reason he does that because he hurt his back in that plane crash.
In that crash, yeah.
Yeah, so he just modified while it was healing, and it just became part of his repertoire of how he landed. But look at a guy like that, and it's just there's some freaks. I mean, the amount of pain that Hulk goes through, with all the shit that he's had with his back and everything, and go out there and just even stand on the ramp on an angle for 5 minutes and cut a promo, knowing how he feels personally because I've spent time with him, and just be able to go out there and deliver it and they'll sell it. It's just that's a real special breed of human being that does that.
And he didn't have to.
No.
That's the thing.
Hulk lost on it. Hulk didn't lose all his money. Hulk's a dummy. Hulk's like the rest of us. Hey, the ATM machine's going to keep kicking out 20s. I ain't walking away.
Exactly. That's one of the things I wish, people ask me my favorite moment in wrestling. And I don't think it's anything to do with wrestling. I think it was the night that it was Bound for Glory in Detroit. And I was in that after party sitting with you and Jeff and Kurt around that bucket of beer. And just sitting there listening to the three of you talk for like 2 hours. That was the most amazing time. Just the stories, and then Jeff looked at me and said, "Well, you never had nothing to say before. What do you think?" And I was like,
Well, and people don't understand like why they still do it, why they still do it. Just like I'm sure like astronauts that have been on the moon, and they get in a room together. There's I don't know how many left of them, 4 or 5. When they get in a room together and they talk, it's like, when you've been someplace and nobody else has been and been doing it for so many years, and your lives intertwined in so many forms and fashions, and it's just like when you see one of your, if I see like Sting, I got 23 years of my life I've known Steve, and this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy and all these different guys that just, Jeff Jarrett and Kurt Angle or Hulk, we did Scott Hall and his son Cody and Sean Waltman went up and did the across the St. Cloud Posse's hatchet attack up in Farmington, New Mexico a couple weekends ago.
Yeah, I saw Sean was tweeting you about that, and I was like, "What the hell are they doing?"
And we did it old school, man. We landed in Albuquerque, got in a Tahoe, and drove like 3.5 hours, 267 miles, whatever it was, up to.
I bet that was a party.
Well, Scott can't.
Yeah.
Scott can't, so nobody can. That's just the rule, It's just It's just the fact that we had enough. We've been together for so long. Just the stories that just, and talking about, remember, and then there's everybody's traveled with everybody, so just like, listen to country music, we're talking about Kurt, we're talking about Rude, we're talking about Boss Man, we're talking about Davey Boy, we're talking about all our friends that, unfortunately aren't here anymore. And it's just like, man, it's just like
Yeah.
sometimes you sit there and you laugh and you're like, are we laughing because we really the only other option is we could cry because we're actually all in like post-traumatic stress disorder because we've lost 50 friends. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
And the list is growing every day. Damn it.
I know. I talked to Steve. I thought me and Stone Cold talked today, and we talked a couple times a week, and we just had like one of those talks today where it just said we were talking about something. He was talking about. He was making fun of me for that stripper movie coming out, Magic Mike. He saw some trailer for it and saw me dancing in it. He was laughing about that, and somehow Pillman came up, and we went on a little about 15-minute tangent. Him and I talking back and forth, and we threw a couple Pillman stories back and forth, and it was just like, it was just like, it's like you're almost like in such like you're hitmen or something. Like your life's so fucking different than a normal human beings. It's almost like nobody can understand it except, I guess it's kind of like Shaft. Nobody can understand but his old lady. I don't know.
Well, only people can understand are your brethren. Your brethren.
Richard. And actually, like my wife gets it because she's been around for 25 years, and she fucking, you come home and you fucking get that, and she looks at you sometimes and says, what the fuck are you yelling at me for? I said, I'm not yelling. Yeah, you're yelling, motherfucker. I'm sorry. I'm passionate.
I think it was funny the last time I talked to you. You were telling me that I think it was your wife that said it. It may have been you, but it's cool that your wife, was watching at the time, and you were contemplating a comeback to TNA to come back and help Kurt, and he came in and took out like 25 guys on his own, and she said, "Well, what do they need you for?"
That's exactly what she said. He made a fucking a 10-man comeback deal, but that's my wife with me. She said, exactly what the fuck are you going back there for? I said, I'm not.
I'm not. I will say though, in their defense, that the product has changed a lot. I mean, I don't know who's got the book. I think Pritchard may have the book right now, but he's doing a great job, dude. And this is coming from a guy, and you know this. I've watched every Impact episode there is, and I am thoroughly, as a fan, impressed with their work over the last 2 months.
Well, the one thing is, I mean, the only downfall that Vince Russo had in his booking was Vince needs a good finish guy with him because Vince, I mean, Vince can write a show, he can write a story, he can write dialogue, but when it comes to the wrestling aspect of it, I mean, you got to have finishes.
Right.
You got to have finishes and matches, and that was never his strong point. And I mean, that's I think when him and Jeff were writing, I thought we had good TV. I think when Jeff got pulled out of it, I thought that was a huge loss because Jeff was an X&O guy
and old school.
Yeah. And it becomes a situation where Pritchard's he's an old school guy. He Dutch Mantel was when they let Dutch go, that was a huge loss.
Yeah, huge mistake.
Yeah, huge mistake for just somebody that just I mean he booked Puerto Rico, which is about as difficult as you can fucking if you want to go to a meat grinder, fucking go book Puerto Rico.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Yeah, so I mean it's just like. It's people, the fucking dirt sheet guys they get the ability to fucking watch the show, watch it back, and then watch it back again, and then put their fucking report out at 6 a.m. about what they liked and didn't like about the show.
Yeah.
Guess what? When you throw that motherfucker out there, you got it's one shot. It's one shot. When you're live, man, fuck it. You can write the greatest thing on earth, but if that fucking first 3 minutes of segment one gets fucked up and somebody doesn't do and you start the show in a fucking clusterfuck and it builds from there and somebody else fucks something up, you could have fucking had the Mona Lisa in front of you, you got done and you had the fucking dogs playing fucking cards, drinking Budweiser.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's unfelt. So it's like, a
With
lot of it
oil.
has to do, a lot of it has to do with writing, but a lot of it has to do with execution from the boys. A
Well, let
lot
me
of it
ask
has
you
to do
this.
with, what's that?
Let me ask you this because we got in a debate about this Tuesday night on my show, and I was defending Russo, and I said Russo writes the script, and all he does is tell the agent and the talent that in order for the storyline to continue as they envision it, there has to be a submission finish or a clean finish or a pinfall. Do the agent and the talent then come up with the finish themselves, or does Russo have something to do with that?
No, it was always we did it. It was always for us. But the biggest problem you have was, there was, though you had some generals there, you had a lot of guys that, were to me. There's two different kind of matches. You got your popcorn matches, which are your fucking spot guys. And you got your main event matches, which are the people who tell you a story.
Right.
And you need more than 4 minutes to tell a story. See, one thing I've noticed lately on Impact is that they're letting you guys, have 2 or 3 segments to fucking go ahead and go out there and tell a main event story. And
Yeah.
it makes a huge difference. It gives people, even if you don't know the product or don't know the characters, Mike today's good enough to to give you background on the person, to give you the information you need to know, who's the heel, who's the babyface, where the storyline's been, where it's probably going to go, and then, and sit back and watch the match and have a vested interest in one or the other of the competitors, or it's a tag, one of the teams, or it's, and that's the whole thing. It's just that you've got to be able to give people time. You can't tell a story in 4 minutes.
Right.
I mean, shit, you can barely put a grease fire out in 4 minutes in a fucking kitchen.
This is
It's like,
true.
fuck.
Would it have been better? And I don't know this because I'm yeah, yes, I've taken a few bumps. No, thank you, not my line of work. I chose to be on this side of things, but I am curious from somebody that's been there, done that, and sold the T-shirt. Um, would it have been better if a writer, and I'm just going to use Russo as an example, were to write the storyline and then write the finish and say specifically Nash power bombs Big Show and pins him 1, 2, 3, as opposed to leaving it up to so many people to come up with a finish?
Well, it was that way when I got there, and then they slowly extracted people that were finished people and that were wrestling people. So through just kind of osmosis, the situation became. It's almost like, let's not do an MRI, let's not do any kind of diagnosis, let's just open the guy up and, oh shit.
Yeah,
Now let's figure out, you know what I mean? Like once you got the guy open, it's just like, oh fuck, it wasn't as
too late
painless at
now.
all. Right? So it's just like you can't, it's a hard situation. It was a situation that he was put into. And he had Matt Conway or whatever his name was with him, and Matt was young. Matt was like,
Yeah,
Matt was learning on the fly. I mean, Matt was a mark that was smart, but he was learning on the fly and helping, put this thing together. So it wasn't like he had, a Kevin Sullivan in there that fucking, that had been booking for years and had 99,000 finishes, or somebody like that. And that was, I tried so hard to get, because it seemed like every time we got somebody in there, I mean, to me, like you need that heel, a heel in that booking room that believes in heat. Because I don't give a fuck when anybody says a baby face on top never fucking draws. A baby face chasing the fucking heel always draws.
yeah, yeah.
And and like what they did, I think what they've done with Cena was, everybody was Cena sucks, Cena sucks, Cena sucks, and all of a sudden he started getting his ass fucking handed to him, week in, week out, and all of a sudden that Cena sucks shit stopped.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he just said, whoa, he doesn't suck that bad. What the fuck are you guys doing to this guy? And it's just like, it just shows you how easy it is to manipulate the psychology of the fucking audience.
Well, that's why the Miz. I mean, I'm not a big Miz guy, but that's why the Miz was so successful because he was such a prick. Everybody wanted to see him lose, and you'd
I
pay to
wanted
see
to
it.
smack him. I wanted to smack him. I was at home. He came out with a sweater vest on one night, and I'm like, really? A sweater vest and a fucking tie? I want to smack you. I'm smart.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to smack him. I'm looking at the guy and going, fuck, you got me. Nice job.
Yeah. That's exactly my old roommate, the one that if I had $1 for every time somebody called him Kevin Nash or Big Sexy, I could retire. But he passed away, and before he passed away, he used to say, "I fucking hate Kurt Angle," and I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because." And I'm just like, "You just hate him because he's so good at pissing people off." And he goes, "That's exactly it." Kurt got him
Good
every
what he
time.
does.
Because he was good at what he did. Still
He's
is.
actually, yeah, he's great. First great.
Let me ask you some questions from our Facebook page that the listeners have posted that they are curious about. Um, when you came back after the Rumble, did you want to come back as Diesel, or did you want to come back as Kevin Nash, or just be a bodyguard of maybe an up and coming wrestler and help build them up?
Yeah, I really wanted to be the Diesel bodyguard guy. I didn't want to work. I wanted to be on the road. I wanted to help. I
Right.
wanted to be able to watch matches and, almost be like, if they had two agents, be almost like, an agent and a half for them.
Right.
That other half a guy that just, been around. And the thing is, they got a lot of big guys down at camp. I heard they got 3 or 4 big, 6'10", 7 big guys. It's just like, I'm sorry, but if you're 6'3", you can't teach a 6'10" guy how to work.
Yeah.
I mean, 6'10" guy, a 6'10" guy needs a 6'10" guy to teach him how to work. And it's just like, so that was another thing. There was a couple of big guys in the territory, and they just weren't working like big guys, and they're all gone now.
Oh, is that what it was? Because I had heard, through the internet, how reliable it is, that you and Pac were going to go down and actually take over one of the training facilities and actually start teaching the younger kids.
Well, there was some talk about us going down there and like rotate, like have like Sean come down for 2 weeks, and have maybe Taker come down for 2 weeks, me come down for 2, and Pac come down for 2, and kind of do it by committee. But they're kind of revamping their whole developmental, and they're trying to get, I think, a little bit more. It's so hard when from a company standpoint, you're trying to start a network. You're going 3 hours. You're now added South America to your rotation, and Central America to your rotation of house shows.
Yeah.
The company continues to grow leaps and bounds. You've still got, with the Euro problems and everything else, you've got economic problems where before, when the States were drying up for house shows, you could pop over to Europe, but with the European economic situation now, that's a harder sell. Which was really a strong revenue bed that was always there for your quarterly earnings. So when you've got so many, and you're publicly traded, so you've got so many economic factors, you've got so many political factors. All of a sudden, developmental becomes like as important as it is. It becomes one of those situations where we've really got to kind of put the fires out on both the wing engines before we worry that the coffee pot's not making hot enough coffee. And
Yeah.
that's a situation that kind of occurs there, and it's just like you can only do so many things at one time, and when you've got a stock and a stock price, and you've got stockholders, and it's basically bottom line on quarterly earnings, and then that becomes the paramount thing. That becomes what you have to do is you have to continue to build those earnings. So it's about the bottom line, and sometimes things that are incredibly important, like developmental, do have to take a little bit of a back seat. And people are, well, it's like, hey, listen, there's still guys down in development. There's still guys that are being fed in the system that may not be as efficient as it could be or that it will be. But right now, it's just there's other priorities, and I know that my friend and his wife are doing the absolute best they can to make sure that Paul's working long hours.
Yeah.
Stuff's working long hours, and everybody else, from Kevin Dunn to the guys that put up the rings to the guys in the edit studios. I mean, it's a very dedicated, hard-working company, and it always makes me proud when I go back to see how much the company's grown, because it's always a couple of years between my visits.
Right.
And it was nice to come back this time and spend some time there. But 6 months at 52 years old is a long fucking time in the WWE.
Well, I was going to ask you, and this is something that I was curious about. You got inducted into that. What is it? A Legends contract, or what was that? Right around the WrestleMania or Royal Rumble time. Um, you know, my curiosity was from a guy outside the business, because you left TNA. And I'm trying to find the right way to word this. Why was it more beneficial to you to leave TNA? Let's say you were making decent money and not having to work a whole lot, just drive in and be on camera. What was the difference between that and TNA and getting to sign that deal?
The TNA money was becoming almost global wrestling proportions.
Okay.
Like what they were offering people, what they offered me was basically and my whole thing is, you can offer me $200,000 for 10 dates over the course of a year, but you own my brand, you own my name, and my name's worth more than $200,000 for you to own for a year, whether I step in the ring or don't.
Right.
So to me, it becomes a situation of, I got 30 surgeries on this body, and I bust my ass every day in the gym to not have a fat gut and still have veins down my arms and still look the part, and I still move pretty damn good for somebody that is as beat up as I am, and
right.
It's like, I'm busting my ass doing my part, and don't come at me with some bullshit offer, and like it's like you're doing me like you got old Yeller out in the chicken coop, and you're doing me a favor putting one between my fucking eyes.
Right. Well, I figured, nobody's ever said that you were a stupid businessman, so I figured that it had to be something like that, because I was just curious as what happened in the time frame was you had signed that deal, and then you got such a huge pop at the Rumble, and then you just kind of sit on the bench, and then that was when the rumors of you going and helping developmental came about. I thought, well, if that's the case, then that's a good move for Kev, because then he's going to be able to teach these younger guys and still be his name will still be out there. You won't probably see him on TV as much, but I've gotten used to that over the years as a fan. But I was curious as to the difference, because it's never been said. I mean, not to my knowledge.
To me, it was, it seemed like a long time, and it was 7 months. And like right now, it's been 7 months since I've been on the TV since the last time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, it's just like, if I can come back and contribute, or they feel I can come back and contribute, like I said, hey, I stay in shape. I go out and work indies. It's not like I'm not in ring shape. I may not be in WWE ring shape, but it's not going to take me long to get there. And it's just like I'm doing what I have to do to stay in the game while I pursue other avenues of business. And that's just because that's the discipline that I'm able to maintain because, number one, I want to look good. I want to look good for my wife. We're going on vacation to the islands for the month of July. I want to walk around in a pair of board shorts with my gray hair and have my wife look at me and say, look, my son looks good. He looks like
He's still a silver fox.
he is. Hey, Silver Fox is trademarked. I got it now. I own it.
I love the shit out of that. I thought that was funny.
Silver
Um,
Fox, Silver Fox is back.
I tell you how I'd love to use you if I had anything to do with the WWE. And they're starting to plant the seed now where they're separating Dolph Ziggler and Swagger from Vicky. Looks like Swagger's going to stay with Vicky. I figure that at the pay per view, Ziggler's going to be facing Sheamus for the world title. I figure Swagger's going to interfere and cost him. But I would love to see a segment backstage where Ziggler says, "I'm Vicky. I no longer need your services," and she freaks out. Excuse me. It goes into a tirade, and he says, I've found somebody else to watch my back," and then you walk in, and play that
He was my
bodyguard role.
guy. He was the guy that I wanted. He was the guy that I wanted. I wanted him or Morrison. When I went in there, I thought those would be they were both, the kind of guys that just, needed that little bit of a heater to be able to beat a Kane, to beat to beat a show. I mean, just that little, they needed a heater to be able to beat everybody.
Right.
And, and Ziggler has just gotten better. And to me, it's just like nobody needs, I mean, I've had my time. I can go back to that Stoic Diesel that, came out with Shawn Michaels and just sat behind him with his mouth shut, did one thing a match. When he did do that one thing, it changed the tide of the match.
Yeah, when you did something as Diesel, it mattered.
It mattered. And that was, that was by design by Shawn.
Right.
He says, every one of these guys does 15 things outside the ring. He says, you're going to stand there, the referee will catch you 2 or 3 times before you do something. And one time you do get behind that referee and he doesn't see it, and you do something, you roll him in. I hit him with a pile driver. We beat him, and it means something.
Right.
And that was the way that that we put it together, and it worked. And it just
It still worked today.
yeah. But at the same time, it's just like there's probably another 6-10 guy down there that. They brought that one big guy in that was going to be a bodyguard, but he was nervous and he was moving all antsy out there, and he did 18. He had a good body. He was a big dark-headed kid they brought in, and he lasted about 2 months and he was gone.
Yeah, he didn't last very long. He was there for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, but just I still got love for it, and it'll always be there. But it's so hard when it's when Triple H is the boss and you're his buddy. It makes it hard because
Yeah.
it's like Jesus Christ, he's party. That's where you get your buddy in here again. He's like 52 years old. You get your buddy in here again, and it's just like I don't want to do that to him.
Right.
Our friendship's worth way more than any kind of employment or anything I do with that company.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
My friendship with him is I can't put a dollar sign on it. And, when do I miss it? Yeah. And the thing is, people said to me, like, why'd you make the move? Why'd you go back? I said, the difference between a couple of million households every week seeing me. I was on WWE's TV for 3 weeks. When I walked through the airport, it was like fucking night and day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And when people don't understand, I went back, and all those 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids, they don't fucking Kevin Nash's now. When I go to do these independents, they know Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
They know who the fuck he is. They know he's the guy that taught Triple H in ladder match. He's So I got a whole new generation of kids. I grabbed my third generation now.
Yeah.
And I've grabbed that I'll take, and then when they turn 15, 16 years old, and they see me doing something else, they say, "Wow, I remember watching them when I was 8." And if you grab that fan base, you continue to grab that fan base, that longevity, you continue to build that brand, and you just, when you go to a place like I'm going to go Saturday to Conference, Indiana for a little indie show, there'll be some little 8-year-old kids there that'll walk up with my doll that they picked out at the store that they wanted to get signed, that they wouldn't have known who I was a year and a half ago.
Right.
That's why you make those decisions in life, because you want to be with the machine. You want to be with the Yankees. It's better to bat DH for the Yankees than to be the best pitcher for the Cleveland Indians.
That is true, sir. That is true. So that definitely explains that.
Yeah, just
Before I let you go, man, and I got quickly one thing. I still haven't gotten my invitation for the Kevin Nash weekend that you used to do. What's up with that? You know, the one where you have people come out and stay with you and drink some beer.
Joey, my buddy Joey Biggs friends out there. Maybe he has a. Maybe I have to tell him to put it back on eBay. Wherever
I mean,
he had it.
well,
Nash experience.
I would think by now, as well as we know each other by now, that I should be able to just get a ticket to come on out and hang out.
As long as you don't shit in the bed.
I don't shit in the bed. I I haven't done that in a long, long time, thank God.
You didn't drink wine with me till 7 a.m.
Well, I drank beer with you till about 4 or 5. Does that count?
That's right. That counts. That counts.
No,
Man.
I wanted to ask you. You said something about the WWE Hall of Fame, and you were pissed off at somebody for getting released. What was all that about?
Just emotional. Just a really close friend of mine got released. And, these people that they get on these fucking tyrants on these fucking fucking Twitter and shit, and just like Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. It's like, you know what? Randy Savage ain't in the Hall of Fame. Rick Rude ain't in the Hall of Fame. There's a lot of fucking guys
Yeah.
that were fucking mentors to me that fucking I wouldn't feel comfortable being in the Hall of Fame in front of them.
Right.
I'm not taking anything away from the Hall of Fame, But then I sat there and watched Edge and watched all those guys last year that will go up there and just like, I don't know if I want to fucking. You're giving a lot of your fucking. You're giving a lot there. You're giving a lot of emotion, and a lot of years, and a lot of shit standing up in front of all those people. It's like the fucking emperor's clothing. Like, I don't know if I want to stand up in front of those fucking people butt fucking naked and be roasted and, like, it's not like I fucking hit a curveball. It's not like I ever fucking really fucking, knocked one over the fence. All my wins were fucking predetermined. All my losses were predetermined.
That's funny.
I mean, if they want to go up there and say we're putting him in the Hall of Fame because he was one of the biggest fucking pricks, one of the fucking, most conniving backstage business pricks, and
because he killed WCW.
Because he did. He actually killed WCW and
single-handedly caused the .com crash and killed WCW.
I mean, if I could get those kind of accolades, but I would want Turner to fucking induct me.
Get the fuck out of here.
Since I killed his company, at least he can do is fucking induct me to the Hall of Fame.
It's funny because, people that blame you for that shit have obviously never seen some of the DVDs that are put out now where the guy says on one of them, I can't remember which one it is, but he says, the company and the Superstation itself would go to these huge television award shows or these SAG awards or these award deals, and people would say, "Oh, you're with TBS and TNT," and they would be like, "Well, what's your number one program?" And they would be like, "Pro wrestler." What? Pro wrestling. Oh yeah, pro wrestling. That's great. When everybody else is creating their own programs, and they said that was one of the reasons why the biggest reasons why that they wanted to get rid of wrestling in the first place.
Well, they did a story about the Holocaust. It's maybe a 2.5 hour movie. They spent like $60 million on it. It was during our heyday. They ran it first run. It did like a 1-1. I might lose my battery here. They did like a 1-1. And I said to myself, I said, geez, I thought this was a business. You know,
Yeah.
I thought this was a business, was about fucking numbers and viewers. And I said, you guys are all, jerk off each other at the Cable Ace Awards over some shitty program nobody fucking watched that you spent $60 million on. They gave you fucking nothing back.
Right.
Over the fucking fact that you got a bunch of fucking guys in tights that are fucking doing fucking a 7-5 for you for 3 fucking hours every Monday night. Fuck you.
Oh, I love the idiots.
Yeah,
They keep the business going though. They
well,
keep
you
it.
know what? You know why I love idiots the most? Because it makes me that much fucking smarter.
Well, it's like Kip James said. The best quote ever said on this show was, he said, I used to get to a point in my career where I got real vocal with the audience. And some fat bitch was yelling at me one night, and I turned to her and said, "Fuck you, bitch! I already got your money."
Exactly. Exactly.
Words to live by. All right, Kevin, we'll let you go, man. We've been on here for a while. I
Yeah,
appreciate you hanging out with me.
cool. I have a glass of wine with Mama.
There you go. Go play with Mama. Anything else beside that? You've got the Rock of Ages. What's the other movie you got coming out?
We got Magic Mike. That's with I played Tarzan. I'm one of the strippers with McConaughey and Channing Tatum. And
So you got stoned and played the bongos with McConaughey.
yeah, McConaughey's a real good dude, man.
I bet he is. I bet he's a trip to hang out with.
He's the Zen master. He's my boy. I'm looking forward to seeing him at the premiere on the 24th.
Oh, there you go.
But, yeah, I mean, Magic Mike is. I think Magic Mike's going to be the sleeper hit of the summer.
Sweet.